Last December over Christmas and New Year's, we stayed at Hotel Vamar in Puerto Vallarta. Before this trip, I saw a lot of mixed reviews online, so honestly, I wasn't sure what to expect. But we ended up staying here for a full week in a 3-bedroom villa with 7 people. So in this video, I'm gonna show you what the villa looks like, what the food and the service were really like, the pros and the cons of staying here, and whether we should actually stay here again. Before we get into the hotel itself, a little context. We've been coming to Puerto Vallarta for years, and we've stayed in quite a few different areas. We've stayed down in Mismaloya, we've stayed in Nueva Vallarta, and we've spent time in Sayulita. We've also stayed at several different resorts. One that really surprised us in a good way was the Marival Distinct. It's an all-inclusive resort with some of the best food we've had at an all-inclusive resort. And if you've watched our channel before, you probably know I'm usually pretty skeptical about all-inclusive food. More recently though, our go-to hotel in Puerto Vallarta has actually been the Marriott Marina. It's not all-inclusive, which we actually prefer, and you get a really nice resort, great location, and then you can just go out to all the restaurants nearby. I'll link both of those videos below if you're trying to decide where to stay in Puerto Vallarta. So going into Hotel Vamar, we had pretty realistic expectations, and overall, I would say the experience was good, but it was a little mixed. One thing that stood out right away was the location. It's in the Marina area of Puerto Vallarta, which is actually one of our favorite areas to stay. It's close to the airport, it's very walkable, and the marina itself is beautiful in the evenings. We often find ourselves walking around the marina instead of going down to the Malecon. The marina has some great restaurants, shops, a convenience store, a pharmacy, and even one of our favorite higher end restaurants that's only about a 10-minute walk away. So from a location standpoint, this was actually really convenient. Another reason we booked this hotel was the price. We paid about $550 per night for the 3-bedroom, but that was during Christmas and New Year's week, which is one of the most expensive times to be visiting Puerto Vallarta. And when you consider we had 7 people staying there, the 5 of us, plus Erica's parents, it actually worked out pretty reasonably compared to a lot of the other hotels that we looked at during the same time period. If I had to say who this hotel is best for, I would say it's really good for families or larger groups. One of the things this property has going for it is they offer a lot of larger rooms, including 2- and 3-bedroom villas. And you don't see that at every resort. So if you're traveling with a larger group, this setup can actually work out really well. One thing I do want to mention is the staff. They were always friendly. You could tell they were trying to do the best they could, but at times it also felt like they were a little stretched thin. Sometimes you'd ask for something simple and they'd ask if you needed anything else while they were there. Not in a rude way, it just felt like they were trying to limit the number of trips they had to make. So it seemed like the staff might have been a little overworked. There were also a few policies that felt a little unnecessary. For example, our kids wanted to play basketball and soccer at night on the sports court that they had there. But if we wanted the lights turned on after sunset, they wanted to charge about $20 per hour. It's not a huge amount of money, but it just seemed a little silly when they're already paying the electric and there's so many lights on at that resort. Just turning 2 additional lights on for the kids to play basketball, it just seemed like they were nickel and diming on that. Another example was around the pool area. Sometimes they would come around with small food samples like tacos or appetizers, but they'd only give you 1 at a time. So if I asked for 2, one for me and one for Erica, they'd say I had to come back and walk through the line again. It's like the little things like that where you just think, like, why make this more complicated? You can see my wife sitting right next to me. Why not just walk over? The food overall was just okay. It wasn't horrible, but it wasn't amazing either. Pretty much what you'd expect from a value, all-inclusive resort. The beach itself was fine. The views were great. The location was good. The beaches generally in Puerto Vallarta, if you go further outside the city to more remote areas, are much better generally. But it was still nice if you wanted to take a walk along the beach or just spend some time in the sand. One thing that's important to know though is that the villa buildings are actually on the marina side of the property. So if you want to go to the beach, you have to cross the street to the other part of the resort. Over there, they have 2 smaller pools and then the beach access. That area definitely felt a little older, but the ocean views were definitely better. One thing we did like was the overall atmosphere. It was actually pretty quiet and relaxed. There wasn't a big party scene. The lobby bar stayed open until about midnight every night. So if you wanted a little evening entertainment, you could find it there. But overall, the vibe was pretty tranquilo. Now, the biggest surprise of the trip was the 3-bedroom villa itself. We stayed in It was actually much nicer than we expected. The layout was very open. There was a large living area, multiple bedrooms, and great views. You can almost tell that the property may have originally been something like an apartment style building because the rooms are significantly larger than what you normally see at hotels. So for families, larger groups, the setup actually worked out really well. I can't say too much about the standard rooms. My brother-in-law, Benji, he did stay in a standard room with his family. He said the room itself was very fine, no complaints, they were happy. The only thing he mentioned is that some of those rooms do have small windows next to the beds that didn't have any window coverings, and so that would let in a lot of light early in the morning. So if I had to summarize our experience quickly, the pros, I thought it was a great location there along the Marina. The large rooms, the villas, and a reasonable price compared to other hotels during the holidays. I'd say the cons were just the food was so-so. Some of the policies felt a little unnecessary, and the service sometimes felt a little stretched because the staff itself seemed a little overworked. But honestly, even if the hotel isn't perfect, you're still in Puerto Vallarta. It's one of the most beautiful places in Mexico, and there's so much to do. Outside the resort, you've got boat tours, snorkeling, great restaurants, beach clubs, the Marina, the Malecón. There's a lot to explore for everyone. I'll link some of our favorite tours in Puerto Vallarta in the description below. Whether or not we would stay here again, possibly, but it would definitely have to be at the right price. And I'm curious if anyone watching this video has actually stayed at the hotel. What was your experience like? Let us know in the comments below. And if you're trying to decide where to stay in Puerto Vallarta, check out our videos on the Marival Distinct and the Marriott Marina, which has become our go-to hotel when we visit Puerto Vallarta. Again, thank you guys for watching this video. If you enjoy travel videos like this, cruises, destinations, and honest hotel reviews, make sure you subscribe. We'll always be posting and updating this channel. Thanks again for watching, and we'll talk to you soon.